Hello again. No camera today. I couldn't get my webcam set up. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we'll still do a nice close look at my project here. This time I was looking at tree cover and land surface temperature in Seattle with the idea to kind of focus on urban heat islands and see if we can find some data that suggests that Seattle is experiencing these urban heat islands. So UHIs, urban heat islands, they cause higher temperatures in densely built areas. That's a result of roads and buildings and everything human-made tends to absorb and emit heat more than the natural surfaces like plants and soil and things like that. So tree canopy in cities mitigates these UHIs. They provide shade and they provide evapotranspiration, which is a process where water is absorbed through the roots of a plant and gets transported up to the leaves, where it then evaporates, and evaporation absorbs heat, so it makes it cooler in those areas. Disparities in this canopy coverage can reflect environmental injustice. Certain areas, particularly low-income neighborhoods, tend to have less tree coverage, and so they will be at higher risk of these urban heat islands. Why Seattle? More than just living here. It's an interesting case study. It has a quite varied landscape, some quite dense areas down near the downtown, and then it gets into much more suburban sprawl in other areas that tend to have more trees. In addition, it has kind of unique weather patterns. Being on Puget Sound, we have quite varied weather sometimes, which can make these it makes this data interesting as well. So for this project, we analyzed the relationship between canopy coverage and surface temperature in Seattle. And we looked specifically at various census tracts. That's how we analyzed our data. So I used special join to calculate the tract level canopy area from this. This is a 2021 study done by the city of Seattle in tree coverage. And additionally, we mapped average temperature using the Landsat 9 data from the United States Geological Survey. How do we do this? Well, we'll look at the temperature first. So this is the map, so to speak, that we get from Landsat 9. It's basically just a raster image. Each pixel is supposed to be approximately 30 by 30 meters. And they also do their temperature, and it's not degrees, it's some sort of digital unit. I don't know exactly what it represents, but there's some calculations we have to do to get that to Celsius. So we used zonal statistics to do this and map to each individual census tract. So these census tracts are colored by the average surface temperature in each tract, like a pixel to pixel average. And again, we convert it to Celsius here. This is from it's a summer day. I believe I pulled either late June or early July, something like that. So it's 24 to 26. That's like upper 70s basically, in Fahrenheit, that is. And then for tree canopy coverage, this is polygons from the city of Seattle that represents everywhere there's canopies. So maybe it's recognizable. We have Discovery Park out here, and then up into Golden Gardens, and I don't remember what this park's called. And then obviously downtown, there's almost no trees at all. With the Arboretum over here and another park down here. This is Puget Park, I believe, running along the Duwamish Waterway. Anywho, yes. So we then did a spatial join to get the first the total coverage of those polygons in each census tract, and then percentage of the total tract area. So we can see anywhere from 0.4, that's going to be, some of our downtown areas, 0.4% tree coverage, and then all the way up to 24%, which I think is, look, that's this census tract right up here, where it's a relatively small census tract that's right next to a big park, so it's got lots of trees in it. Okay, so that's our data. We mapped them all out, and you can see which ones have more and less tree coverage. But comparing between the two, what I expected to see was that higher tree canopy would consistently show lower average surface temperatures. That would make sense, right? That's what these urban heat islands are, right? Where there's more trees, it's cooler, but that's really not what we see. I mean, honestly, looking at some of our tracks that are closer to 24 degrees, a lot of them are right along the Fremont Cut, but then even downtown, where I would have expected to be the hottest in the city, is not, right? Instead, up here on Lake Washington up here, or down on the Sound here, is the hottest, while this sort of corridor is the coolest. Now, yeah, I didn't run any sort of statistics on this, but just observationally, we don't really see any sort of significant correlation here. Why might that be? I identified a few ideas here. Some of it could be wind. It's quite possible there's a sort of wind corridor in here coming up through the bay or up the cut. Might kind of have wind that would cool things down, but my biggest guess is that it's the water, right? So water has a very kind of a cooling effect, kind of regulates temperature a lot. So right along the Fremont Cut, there's water there. It's in particularly moving water. And down here we have the Duwamish Waterway that's moving a lot of water nearby. And so that my guess is what's cooling those areas more than the trees might do. And we do see some, right? Obviously Discovery Park is quite cool, and that's probably some combination of the lack of urbanization as well as the water around it. But and again, same down by the Duwamish Waterway, the Puget Park might have some sort of regulating effect. But yes, I would guess the water is the more significant factor there. Other confounding factors, it could just be that I pulled a bad day of weather coverage. Maybe it was cloudy. I tried to pick an image that didn't look cloudy, but again, this is what you're working with. It's kind of hard to tell. So maybe I just didn't get good data. That's totally possible. But this is what we have. So what could someone do with this data, right? Provided to a policymaker, what might they get out of this? Well, for one, we are just seeing which neighborhoods are the warmest, right? So over here, out by like Sandpoint, maybe put in a park, right? Because even if it's not as significant of a cooling effect as the waterways might be, it does seem to have some sort of effect. I mean, even just looking like this side of kind of North Seattle is cooler than that side, and it does seem to have more parks. So to some extent, there probably is, or like in and around Ravenna Park, looks like it's cooler around there than it is in the surrounding areas. So there is probably some truth to that. So yeah, maybe putting a new park over by Sandpoint or down. I'm not sure what this neighborhood is, but somewhere down there. Or what have you could help with this. Yeah, that's kind of the idea there. Before I go, a couple thank yous once again. Thank you to CSDE for their servers. That was couldn't have done this project without it, right? And also providing the software or GIS. Another thank you to my professor, Dr. Da-Feng Xu, for instruction, flexibility, oversight this whole course. It was quite a fun class to take this quarter. I'm really glad I took it. So thank you so much for that. But with that, that's my spatial drawing final project for this class. Thank you very much.